Good morning. It's Wednesday, November 28th. And let me tell you what's happened. The other day, I guess it was Monday evening, George Santos admits that he lied. He admits that he did not work for Citigroup. He did not work for Goldman Sachs. He worked for Linkbridge. And during his work with Linkbridge, he associated himself with Goldman Sachs and with Citigroup. They might have been like his clients or something. So what was the point of him lying for that? That's a legitimate deal. It says, I worked for Linkbridge, I did this, that, and the other things, and two of my major clients, so to speak, were Citigroup and Goldman Sachs. Why couldn't he do that? But beyond that, the man lied about his education. Claimed to be a graduate of Baruch College. I graduated from Baruch twice. If you graduated from Baruch, when I graduated from Baruch, it was one of the top 5 business schools in the country. So that's a big deal if you went to Baruch College and you graduated. But he lied about that too. So what is Congress going to do? What are they supposed to do with a man who is an admitted liar? And he told his stories to two of the right-wing organizations, the New York Post and Fox News. And when the New York Times wanted to question him, he refused to talk to them because maybe they would ask him some tough questions, not some questions that newspapers and news firms who lean toward the right were asked. But in any event, the man lied. And what are we supposed to do with that? What are we supposed to do to a guy who lies and wins an election? That is the $24 question. Of course, nowadays they wouldn't have a quiz show that only gets you $24 for the answer to that question. But that is a major, major concern. Should we allow an admitted liar to represent the district in Congress? How many votes did his lying get him? And he won that election pretty big. So I'm assuming that when people looked at his curriculum vitae, as they call it, right? And they saw that he graduated and he worked at those great firms, did that convince them to vote for him? Isn't that fraud? Fraudulently telling something to the public? People get arrested for fraud, you know. Now this didn't cost anybody any money, so maybe it doesn't fall into the fraudulent category in that way. But the man lied. He lied. How can you trust him? He'll go up and say he's going to do X, Y, and Z. Why would I believe him? Why, if I was one of his constituents, would I believe him that he's going to do all of these things? And we know how easily our congressmen and our senators are swayed by the donors. So this guy is not to be trusted. He can't be admitted to Congress. In my mind, he cannot be admitted to Congress, even though there's probably no rule that says if you lie, you can't be admitted to Congress. But there ought to be something that says if you lie and you achieve a position because you lied, you can be fired and you can't be hired. I had some friends who were fired because of similar situations when they got jobs with companies and their resumes were found to be incorrect, so to speak. They get fired. I know people who have been fired for lying on their resume, claiming they're a graduate or claiming they took certain courses that they never took. You know, or they went to a college that they never went to, like him. People get fired for that in the business world. Why don't they get fired from Congress? And he doesn't have to be fired. He can just be not allowed in, because then he's got to swear allegiance to the country, as I said the other day in Iran. Does he care about swearing allegiance to the country? Can we trust him that he is going to fulfill his obligation to the country and not to the donors of the world? Not to the people he chooses to lie to? This is outrageous that he can admit lying and expect to be seated in Congress. And the Republicans are just as much at fault as he is, because they didn't vet him. They didn't check on his credentials. They didn't do anything. And they should now object to him being seated as a member of their party if they had any thoughts about what's correct and to set an example of the proper way to behave in this country. You realize that this man is now stolen. This is a big steal that he is executed because he is going to get a great job with a great pension that doesn't include anything that has to do with Social Security or anything. Congress has their own separate pension plan and everything. They are a well-insulated group, and he's joining them by being a liar. And he's going to reap the benefits for lying. The Republicans are at fault for letting him get away with it. And if it was a Democrat, I would say the same thing about them. They are responsible to make sure that the people that they put up are what they say they are. So we're going to let this guy have a great job, a great future, set for life with pensions and everything, health care, all kinds of things that he doesn't deserve. He hasn't earned the right to those things. He's a charlatan. The Republicans have to stand up and say, we do not want that guy in Congress. But they won't. They won't. And I'm sure the Democrats wouldn't do the same thing either. But meanwhile, we as a nation are going to give this guy a great life with a pension and everything, and he's a liar? Does that make any sense to you? Makes no sense to me. This man should be on his way to jail, not on his way to Congress. And I don't know what happens. I don't know what the rules are. Certainly, I wouldn't take his word when he swears the Pledge of Allegiance to the country. Why? Why is this guy being allowed to be seated? As of this moment, that's what I see happening. I see him reaping the benefits of lying when he should be ostracized. If he gets into Congress, he should be totally ostracized. He should not have any committee assignments. He should be nothing. A vote. So I'm angry, and I'm leaving you with that this morning. Have a great day. Bye.